when you're advising your brides, when you're giving them the prep before the wedding, what things do you tell them to do in their space to make sure when you arrive that the area is set up, the lighting is good, and you've got everything you need to just hit the ground running and start with hair and makeup without having to stuff around?
I think this is a really important point, Jay, because it really, again, sets you up for like you said, hit the ground running and get the job done. We always recommend natural light is always the best. That's our preference. We want to know what your face will look like in the daylight where you will be spending most of your day. So it's got to be true to what you see. Obviously, some weddings, we start hair and makeup at 1 a.m, 2 a.m, and it's pitch black outside. As much light as you can provide us. Not something too blue, not something too yellow. Just make sure the room is filled with as much light as possible. Also pick a room that is going to have natural light coming in when dawn happens to come around, and we've done 5 people already. That might be when we save the bride for after dawn. So that might be a situation where the bride gets ready later rather than earlier. Natural light. If you can't have natural light, then artificial light that is good, bright, is not going to cast too much of a shadow or things like that. But we can usually move you around in the space to set it up for it. The other thing is table space. We bring a lot of stuff with us, Jay. You would have seen how much stuff we bring. So we just need space for that. If we're working in a tiny cramped thing, then we're not going to be able to reach for things, and we're going to be doubling up on where we put our stuff. It's just going to slow the whole process down. So we've actually found that when we work in the studio, we're a lot faster because we have our space and we know how much space we need. If the space is cramped, we go slower because we're just doubling up and shuffling things and looking for things and things like that. So definitely having a lot of space. So we always recommend a big dining table, a room with a big bed, and just put something down on either surface so that our products and things don't dirty the space. That's really important, having the space for it. Yeah.
What about things like mirrors and stools to sit on? Do you provide those high chairs, or does it not matter? Can they just use any old chair, or what do you prefer to work with, obviously for your comfort and so you can see what you're doing better?
For us and for any other makeup artist, I think it will depend on their preference. We always send a list to the client about what we would need. A mirror is optional. That's more for you to see what you would look like rather than us to need it to work. It would be amazing if you did have a mirror. That definitely helps the situation. In terms of chairs, different people have a different preference. Sometimes we might even do 10 people. Even 3 people, it is hard if we do not have the right chair for our shoulders, our backs and arms. We're there for hours literally doing the same thing. For hair, usually I personally prefer something a bit lower so that my shoulders are not lifted, so a normal chair.
And so you can get on top.
So I can be on top. But on the other hand, Nettie, my other hairstylist, she prefers something a little taller because of her back. So it really just depends. But for makeup, a stool would be good, so we're at your eye level. But again, that hair and makeup stylist should let you know what they would like, or if you would like to ask them what they would prefer, they might have a preference.
So you don't supply the chairs, they have to...
Yeah, whatever's in their home.
Right.
And if they don't have, for example, a bar stool, what we can do is pile a bunch of cushions on top of a normal chair and get them to climb on top. We've had aunties who are I have to get on top of all of that. But just for
you make it work.
Yeah, we make it work. Yeah, even in a hotel, sometimes they might not have a bar stool available. So we just pile some pillows on top or something like that. But we can make it work like that. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I just remembered, use that setting up space as not the place for photos, because it is a mess, and you would have seen. So some people use the same room that looks really nice for us to do that in, and when the photographer comes, it's such a mess, and we're never going to clean up in time for you to take the photos. So it's always good to have that special room, whether it's a master bedroom or a nice formal living area, or somewhere where everything is the right colors and the right matching properly, and your jewelry set up there, and you've got your bouquets there or a dress hanging there. That's where all the nice stuff should be. We are just in a space to get you ready.
Yes.
And you guys will come in and be like, can we take some touch-up photos? We will move there. Not everything, just the brush, the bride and the artist, just to get that shot.
Yeah. But that was good. So I guess just to summarize, in terms of bride's getting their space ready for you guys in the morning. So it's essential to have somewhere that's got good lighting. So whether it's if it's in the day, if the daylight's out, something with nice even window light coming in through a nice big window. I like sheer curtains. If you have sheers, they're awesome. It softens the light, but if not, no big deal. If you're getting ready before sunrise, which is quite common with Hindu and Indian weddings, somewhere with neutral-ish lighting, not super yellow and not super blue lighting. You know, most modern homes have the LED lighting, so it looks decent. But if you've got those really warm tungsten bulbs, it can kind of yellow your face, and you know, it's hard for them to gauge how it's going to look. So it's important to have a decent space, a bit of room to work, a decent amount of room, because they bring a lot of brushes. I've seen it, brushes and hair and makeup, everything bits and pieces. Have a dining table or a large table or a bed even with a towel down or something, just so they can spread everything out and pick what they need without wasting any time. Don't worry too much about if the area is going to be cluttered where the hair and makeup's happening, because we're probably not going to take photos there. If we are going to take photos, if you want touch-ups, things like that, we'll move you to another area. So that area, and this is overlapping with what I suggest for photography as well for brides, is and grooms for their house as well, but have a space like a living area, master bedroom, something where you know you get a lot of nice natural light. You'll know because you live there. Most hotel rooms are fine, but if it's at home, somewhere with a lot of space to work with, lounges, you know, something and keep it tidy. Keep most of the house. I know that it's going to be messy. There's stuff everywhere in bags and stuff you got to take to the venue, but try and keep one area fairly tidy, and we'll end up using that space more than likely for 90% of the shots. But it won't be the same as where you're doing hair and makeup necessarily. And more 99% of the time, it's a separate room. So they're two separate spaces.
Never have them being the one space that you're going to clear away for the photographer, because there just will not be enough time and it will just not happen.